Hey everybody, Joy here. This is So Long Butterick 6418. Why is she hiding behind a mirror? You'll see. This is my muslin, my trial, my first garment that I've cut out. After I spent 3-4 hours doing the corrections that I felt like my body needed on the paper pattern front and the paper pattern back. You'll see everything I did after I show you this. I want you to see this first because I want you to see the importance of cutting out a muslin, a trial garment. This one stretches just the right amount. It stretches a little bit lengthwise, enough crosswise. It needs 35% stretch. It's pretty pink knit I got from Peggy Sager's. And I was hoping it would turn out and I would be able to use it. But as you can see, even with as many hundreds of times I've done this, even with all the books I have, even with all the videos I've watched, it still needs correction. That's what I want to show you. I told you how to use your upper bust to choose your correct size if you have a large difference between upper and full. So I used a size medium. Now I probably would have used a size large, but my pattern only went up to medium. I didn't have a choice of a large. Definitely I would have come down and gone out to the large here on the sides. I'd have kept it the same up here, but would have come out to the large. But even choosing the size medium, that's for a 36 full bust, the pattern is for a full bust. This gapes so much on me right here. You can see how much I've pinned out. Look at the back neck. Same thing. Look how much I've pinned out of that back neck. But you can see the round back and the sway back actually look good. You can see that it fits me. It fits me, but because of my fluffiness, I want more fullness down here. You'll need to determine, do you want it to fit close or do you want it to have more fullness? I want it to have more fullness. Do I like the length of it? I've got my yoga pants on. So this doesn't have the hem in it, but I'm sure the hem is like 5/8 inch. And I like the length of it to wear with leggings. Okay? Now my leggings need to be quite fitted and quite snug, or you know those kind that have the tie in the front where you make a bow? That bow always sticks out. And I don't like that. Notice the bust darts. Put the darts to point to my apex in the paper. But in the garment, this almost always happens when you make a knit. The bust darts are too low. So I need to take the bust darts and I need to raise them. Be careful when you're putting pins there, my friend. Be careful. So I need to raise the tip of this bust dart up, however far that is. Get a measuring tape and measure the difference. It's actually 1 inch too low. So in the paper pattern, I have choices. I can raise the bust dart and point it up 1 inch higher, or since I want more fullness down here around me, I can move the bust dart down here and add fullness at the bottom of this pattern. I told you I almost always have to take a tuck in the neck. Well, usually it's a V-neck or it's a U-neck. I didn't realize if it's clear up here, I was going to have to take a tuck in it. But you can see that I'm going to have to. Now, I don't like my neck clear up here, so I will probably cut a lower neck, but I'll still have to take the tuck in it. The shoulders are landing right where they need to be after I sew the sleeve in. Probably because of the tuck in the neck, it's bringing these in, and I am going to go ahead and add at least a 1/2 inch up here and then just make it come back down into the sleeve. Yeah. The back looks good. I just need more room here at the shoulder tip. All right, so this is the result after I've already done my Palmer and Plesh of the paper pattern time 1. I may take 2, 3, 4, 5 times sometimes. But in this case, I think I'm close enough that I can change the dart. I can tuck the neck. I'll show you how I do it. Tuck the neck in the front, tuck the neck in the back, draw a lower neck, front and back, and add a little length to the shoulder tip. Now, the arm is fitting me really close, the armhole, but remember, 5/8 inch comes out. See, and so it will be lower when it's done. Remember that. Okay, it's cute, huh? It'll be cute with an embroidery design on it. I like it very much. Now, will I be able to use this? No. But what I can do with this is maybe use the fabric in it to cut out a short sleeve for the next one that I'm going to make. So I wanted to show you this first. All right, here we go. Get something to drink. Get a comfortable chair because it's going to take me a long time to show you what I did to that paper pattern. I'll be back. I put the pattern back on some green paper so you can see what I'm going to do. I have to take this neck in. I'm going to take this neck in 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch will take it in a total of 1/2 inch because this is just 1/2 the back pattern. So what I'm going to do is, now I'm taking it in a little less than the amount of fabric I pulled up because this stuff is stretchy and sometimes it's hard to tell the exact amount. So what I'm going to do is, I am going to make a cut from the baggy neckline over to the armhole because I want to cross this over a little bit. You'll be able to see when I do that how that's going to bring this shoulder point in. So I am going to add to the shoulder point and then draw it back into the armhole again. All right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a colored pen. I just got some new friction markers. These are fine point friction markers. They're in my store, I think. If not, I'll put them in there. Pilot friction markers. There was 12 of them. They've gotten more expensive, but you gotta have them. So these aren't the ink pens, and they aren't the fat markers. These are skinny markers. So I am just going to draw a line from my neck. You have to do it to an outside seam. We can't do it over here and center back because that goes on the fold. So I'm going to cut it over here. That's what I'm going to do to tuck that neck in. I know it looks crazy. Have I ever seen anybody do this? I don't think I have. I think I made this up myself. All right. Let me move the green paper so I don't chop it up. So I'm going to cut my line. Now, if you had started with SureFit Designs and drawn your own pattern, you would be able to skip so much of this, especially the full bust adjustment. All right, so here's my neckline. I'm going to cross it over. I have a hinge. Here's the hinge down here. See, hinge duty? And I'm going to cross it over about maybe 3/8 inch. I think that far is how I'm going to cross it over. So what has that done? It hasn't done anything here, hardly at all. Maybe 1/32 of an inch, smaller than that. A little tiny itty bitty teeny bit here, but it has made the neckline smaller. And that is what I want to do. Get your 1/2 inch magic tape and tape that shut. I don't know if I've got the world's smallest neck. And did you notice the neckline on me doesn't look anything like the neckline on the pattern? The neckline on the pattern, which is why I bought it, is a boat neck. This doesn't look like a boat neck at all. Put a little tape out here where we opened up seam allowance. That's not going to hurt anything. There she is. You can see what I did. And so now you take your designing stylus, or if you're good at drawing, we're going to put a piece of paper in there, and we're going to fix that neckline. You should have scraps of paper everywhere. I do. I got it all over the place. Tape that down. Because you got a jog here. See this jog? You don't want that jog. You got to have a smooth neckline. Alright? So now you get your curve. Your fashion ruler. This is in my Amazon store too. Find your curve to match the one that was there. If you can. That looks pretty good right there. Put this over here. Yeah, like that. And I am actually going to cut this down because this neckline, due to my round back corrections, I think it's a little bit high on me. But I still need it. So this is going to be my new neckline. And when you got a tripod between your legs and you're trying to do a video, everything's going to want to move. There we go. There's my new back neck. All of this is coming off because it's up too high for me anyhow. I told you I don't like the neckline up that high on me. So now I'm going to trim that. There we go. There it is. We don't need this piece back here. I may not really have even needed to add that piece. You see, pattern fitting is a constant learning experience. Since I lowered this here, this has to be a 90 degree. Remember Glenda's 90 degree thing, but you can just use a regular ruler. Remember her 90 degree. The back has to be on a 90 degree. Right there it is. So that's my new back neck. There wasn't anything else wrong with the back. I just need to extend the shoulder a little bit, and I'll tell you how I'm going to figure out how to extend the shoulder. Alright, so you want to line up your center back on a straight line so you can measure across to this shoulder point, and I need to know what line to measure across to. Does that make sense to you? So this line right here is what lines up with the neck. Right there. How do I want to do this? I have to stop and think. Hold on, everybody. This is going to be, yeah, 7 1/4. But if I bring it out to here, it's 7. It's 7 1/2, right where it's supposed to be. It's perfect. It's just perfect. Except for that tuck I just took in it. Okay, so since I just took this tuck in the neckline, you saw it when I had it on my body, it brings this shoulder tip in. So I am going to move this new center back point. This will be on the fold, this point right here. Over here is where my shoulder ends on this paper right here, where that red crosses the two seam lines. So I am going to put this down on this line here that lines up with this piece right here, not this here, but this up here. And I'm going to see where 7 1/2 is because that's half of me. And boy has it moved out. From the center back, where my neck is, to my shoulder tip on this paper pattern right here. 7 1/4 inches. I'm 15 inches between my shoulders. In fact, when you measure your shoulders in the back, they may come out a different length than your front. But I think mine are 15 front and back. So I am going to add 1/4 inch out here at this tip and use my designing stylus to bring it down. I'll show you how I do it. You have to have so many things to be a seamstress, don't you? Alright, we're going to add 1/4 inch out here. Up here at the shoulder. 1/4 inch. So now I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to line it up with the curve that was here by the pattern company. And that curve is right there. I'm going to move it out to that 1/4 inch. And I'm going to make myself a new armhole. Right there. Should I have used a bigger pattern? No. Look how huge this was around my neck. I don't know why every pattern's different. I think even every company's different. But you're going to have to be very patient in the fitting process. But once I get this pattern so it does fit me, I could make 3 of these a day. Once you know it fits you, it is so easy to put it together. It's ridiculous. We're going to spend most of our time doing the fitting. It's not going to take any time to sew this together. All right? We're going to leave this the way it was. Now you can tell by the green insert. You can tell by that green right there that I did not have to correct it the whole way down and under. I just corrected it up here at the top and tapered it back into where it's supposed to be. So you can see that was not hard, but it will make that fit me so much better. Put your tape on it. So that's it. I'm done with the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move the bust dart down into the skirt area on my paper pattern now. Here's my paper pattern. You saw me already put the bust dart in it and do the FBA. This is still going to have an FBA in it, but I'm going to add it down there to the bottom. And I know a lot of you want to know how I do that. So let me move the camera around a little bit, and I'll see if I can show you how to do that so you can see it real good. Okay, my battery went dead, so I had to change cameras. Bust darts. We're moving the bust dart down into, let's call this the skirt, okay? But before we do that, we need to move the point of the bust dart. We need to aim the bust dart higher because on me, it's too low. It's not too low when I put the paper up to me, but it's too low in the garment. I'm going to use this black pen to re-aim my bust dart. So where's the point of my bust dart right now? It's right there. I'm going to come up here 1 inch. So I'm going to aim it to this new place right here, in the center. Right there. I'm going to aim that bust dart. And then I'm going to draw the points of my bust dart to there. Okay. Will this change that angle? Maybe. Can you see that? Here's the original bust dart. I'm still using the same points out here, but I'm just pointing it higher. My apex is right here on the paper, but on this blouse I'm wearing, it's up here. I hope that makes sense. I know it's confusing. So let's fold it and see if its fold still works, and it probably doesn't. I'm telling you, my paper starts out so pretty and it ends up so awful. No, we have to refold it and recut our point out here. It's flat pattern making. Flat pattern making requires flat paper. All right? Now, we're not going to use this red anymore. No, 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 no. No, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Let me get, maybe you can see it better. There's the tip, there's the leg, and there's the leg. See that? You want to make sure, when you're going to go cut this out the second time, that you're going to know what you're doing. Because this can get so messy. It's unbelievable. I have not tucked the throat, the neck yet on this, but I'm going to. And when I do, it's going to go through this dart, so that's going to be even more fun for you. Okay, let's fold the new dart legs, which have practically gone all the way. Yeah. And we're going to come down here, and we're going to start at the top, and we're going to come down and meet up with this bottom part here. Right there. Give me a little more room. This made a big difference. Look at this point now. Look at it now. See how different it is? It's like, Joy, how do you even follow that? And you get black ink all over your hands. Let me draw it. I don't like to do this because I don't like to get ink on my cutting mat. But this is what it takes to get something to fit you. I don't know how the ladies at Palmer Pleasure even teach it, because it is quite complicated. New dart. Let's let that dry and maybe it'll stay there 5 minutes without getting all over my hand. New dart. Right there. All the way out to the edge. New dart. I've raised my dart. Now, you know, it's even going to be messier when I take this dart out and move it down to the bottom. Y'all are going to go, we give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. All right, so where is my apex now? My apex, I'm going to go through the middle of this dart, and we're going to come over here, and we're going to mark our new apex, which is right there. That's our new apex. And it actually is 1 inch above the old apex, so that worked out great. Okay? The new apex is right there. And when I take this neck in up here, I'm going to cut it all the way down here to this apex. I'm going to cut it to this apex, and I'm going to cut straight through the center of this dart. Then I'm going to open this dart up however much I need to in order to cross this top over 1/2 inch. I am. So what should I do first? Should I move the dart down to the bottom? No. I need to do the top first, is what I need to do. So let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to cut to the apex. You know what else you can do is you can cut over here to the armhole like I did in the back. You can actually do it that way too. And I don't know how this neckline got so high up on my neck, but boy it did. Alright, so it's always too big, pretty near the center. So I'm going to draw up to there. Now I'm going to be cutting through my pretty words. Alright, I'm cutting through the center of this new bust dart all the way over to the apex, not the point of the dart. I've cut past the point of the dart and I'm all the way to the apex. I'm going to leave a hinge and I'm going to cut all the way up through the neck. Now I have a hinge. See hinge duty? Hinge duty? I've actually cut it completely away. That's okay. You can put it back. Put it back. Put some tape on it. And use a pair of scissors to cut it. It's really hard to use a rotary cutter and not cut through it. So now I'm going to cross the neckline over 1/2 inch. And that just moved this shoulder in to where now I have to move it out, as you know when you saw me try this on. 1/2 inch up at the top, up at the top. I'm doing it clear at the tip. I'm not doing it on the seam allowance. I'm doing it clear at the tip. 1/2 inch. There we go. Alrighty. See, that wasn't much, was it? And actually, as much as I took it in, hello, how can you see me? Look at how much it is here. Look how much. You know, it's a bunch. It's just really strange. So if I do 1/2 inch, it's just going to be this much. And that's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. So I'm actually going to cross it over some more. Alright, I just checked that gap in the neck and I've decided to cross this over a little bit more. I'm going to cross it over 1/2 inch on the seam line. 5/8. I'm crossing it over 5/8 inch on the seam line. Alright. How will we know what to do, Joy? You just have to practice. Take this paper. If your paper gets to this point and you think, oh, that's just a total complete mess, trace around it and start with a fresh, clean, new paper, if that would make you happy. There's no way I'm doing that. I work forever on this paper. Alright, let's fix this bust dart here. This is bust dart mania. My goodness, the things I do. Do I always do this? Yeah, I do. Unless I start with Sure Fit Designs, I have to go to all this trouble with the paper pattern. Always. Why do so many people hate making their clothes? This is why, because the pattern is so far off. You know, the pattern's made for a perfect body. And I don't think there's even one out there they can use. There's the point of my dart. It opened up a little bit out there too, so I'm just going to draw it again. Hello. I get tired and I just get messy. Alright, there's my dart. There's my dart. I want to move it down here into the bottom of the blouse. I want more fullness right here in my blouse. So I am going to cut this through the bottom. I'm closing the dart, so I'm not going to cut it from the center. When I folded the top over to make this smaller, I cut it through the center because I knew it was going to widen the dart and I wanted it to widen it evenly. Alright, now that I'm closing the dart, I'm going to cut from one of the legs all the way over to the apex. Alright, so let's watch that and see how it goes. I know it looks funny and you think, how can it ever work? But it does. We are going to cut this back up to the new apex. All the way to there. We're going to take this and we're going to cut it on the bottom leg all the way to the apex. We now have a new hinge. A new hinge. See this one? Hinge duty. Alright, how do I close the dart? I simply open this up and put it up at the very top. Open this up and move it up to the top of that dart. So I have just closed that dart. Look at how much room it added down here. Look at how much room. A ton of room. Oh, heavens, we don't need that much room. We only need about that much room. So we're still going to have a bust dart here. Yes, this is the bottom leg of the dart. This is the top leg of the dart. Alright, so I'm going to add about half the dart. I think I'm going to add about that much at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to put that on that line. And I'm going to put this just a little bit past the inch line because that's where it wants to line up. Let's just cut the whole dart out for you people. Okay? Alright, I've removed the whole dart to make this easier for you to understand. I know it's really hard. Alright, so now I've cut my hinge again. I'm going to take my hinge back together. Okay? So, I am going to put an inch more fullness. That gives me more fullness through my belly, more fullness down at my hip. And you know I've added that extra in the back. So I still have a dart. See, you should be able to see I still have a dart because I've cleaned it up by taking this mess out of there. Still have a dart. I'm going to have to line the hem up down here, but that's no big deal. And then I'm going to have to fill this in and put my dart back in it. So this I'll fill up with paper, this I'll fill up with paper, I'll fold it, I'll make a new dart, I'll move the shoulder out. How did you know you needed to take that out of the neck? Well, that's how you know. How did I know I needed it out of the back? Same thing. Baggy neck. Look here on the side. Look like I'm in a funnel. Somebody's gonna pour something down here and put it in a bottle. Terrible fit, terrible. I'm crazy about this Butterick pattern. So what have I done? I've spent, of course making videos takes longer. It wouldn't take me near this long if I wasn't making a video. I'm going to show you what I've done. I've tucked the front neck. I've brought the shoulder out because tucking the neck made the shoulder come in, so I've brought the shoulder out. I've moved the point of the bust dart up 1 inch, and I've moved part of this bust dart down into the skirt. Let's hold this up to me and see how we're doing. I also cut back a 1/2 inch away from my neck because I can't stand things up on my neck like this. And yes, there's a seam allowance, but still, it isn't going to be a boat neck like the pattern if I didn't move that. So here we are. The front meets my front. So here's the point of my dart. And of course the paper is different than the knit. But here's my side seam. And look, this comes past the center of me now. So when I put this in the center, you can see I'm going to have more room down here at the bottom. And I really like that. Look here, I saved this to show you. You may not need these fixes. I cut off this much up here at the neck because I don't want this up here. I want it down here. And of course it has a seam allowance, a hem allowance. But I cut that much off, so I have cut the shoulder a 1/2 inch away from my throat, a 1/2 inch over. And I have extended the shoulder seam and added 5/8 inch seam allowance. You can see how much I added, quite a bit. Let me tell you something to do. Before you choose your upper bust pattern size, take the pattern out of the envelope and measure from the center front of the pattern to the seam intersection over here at your shoulder tip. It should be 1/2 of you from here to here. I'm 15, so mine needs to be 7.5. This pattern, even though I chose my upper bust size, this pattern was a little short in the shoulder. I was very surprised, but then again I thought, oh well, it's a knit, and so they always make knits smaller than woven, so I didn't really worry about it. But now that I'm fine detailing it, I am adding to the shoulder, and I've added a bunch in the width. So if I had had it, I would have started out with a large, because the large would have probably measured correctly in the shoulder, and it would have given me more width down here, and I wouldn't have had to add so much as I had to add. But you can start out, there's a class on Craftsy where the lady says you can start out with any size pattern in the whole wide world and you can make it fit you. I'm like, really? Alright, what about the back? What have I done? We see everything I've done on the bust, on the front. This is the front now. On the back, I've extended the shoulder because I crossed the neck over. I showed you how I crossed the neck over. I've extended the shoulder. I've added 1 inch fullness because I cut it from here to here, and I just moved this over 1 inch. That extends the arm. But if this armhole is too big for me, what I'll do is I'll come back and I'll just take some of it off and taper it down to the waist. I usually have to do that anyway on my body. And I'll just take some of this away. But then again, if I use my roly-poly, in this case, let's use my measuring tape and see how big the armhole is now. Measure, measure, measure. Give yourself 2 days to make this pattern fit you. It doesn't take any time to sew it together. It takes most of your time to make the thing fit you. So I'm going to measure from my new shoulder, down, 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 around, 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 over and over and under. And now it measures 10 1/4. I don't know what it measured to start with, but it wasn't much different than that. So now I've got 10 1/4. I'm going to write that down. On the back, let's measure the front and see what we've got. The front looks much smaller than the back. Front measures 8 1/2. 8 1/2 in the front, 10 1/4, and so that's 18. And I told you I like a 19-inch armhole. So what we're working with here is 18 3/4. Hello! I think it's going to work out just fine. Look down here, how I've smoothed out the bottom. I lengthened it here, I widened it here. I've got the bottom all smoothed out. My bust dart is taped shut. Don't hold it up to your body and try it on without closing the bust dart. Very important to close the bust dart. Front, back. What am I going to do for the sleeve? What I'm going to do for the sleeve is I'm first going to make this again, the front and the back. I'm going to see if I like the armhole. If I like the armhole, I'm going to measure the sleeve around the cap and make sure it's going to fit in this armhole. Since I've fiddled with it so much, it's not the original beast. It's a whole brand new one. I'll show you when I get to that step. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Do you see the difference? The shoulder's out where it belongs. 5/8 inch seam allowance will bring it in where I am. The bust dart now points to me. I now have more fullness in the bottom. Look here at the tummy part. It's not tight across my bottom, I don't think. Let me look in the mirror. You're the first to see this. It could use a little more fullness at the bottom and the back. Cute. So check out the neck now. Here it is. It's flat on my body. Check out the back neck. Up against me. You don't have the big funnel anymore on my neck. Huh? So, first I did the paper, then I made my first muslin. Then I found out the corrections I needed in my first top, and then I changed the paper some more. Remember, I should have started out with a large. That would have saved me some time. But this is my body. You have your body. I always, when I'm starting with a new pattern, I almost always can get the first one correct without having to do two, except almost always the bust dart's too low. So I think from now on I'm just going to automatically raise the bust dart anytime I make a knit, because that looks good. Now this hadn't been pressed, but I think it is super cute. I haven't made the version where there's a different fabric here and a different fabric. When you're doing your fit, just use some old knit. Make sure it has the same amount of stretch as your new knit. If you have to use black on the front, green on the back, and orange for the sleeves, it doesn't matter. Just use something. You don't care if you mess up for your first one. I'm not going to be able to wear the first one, but I have plenty of fabric on that first one to use it to make the insert. Say I might want a pink part up here and the rest black or something. So I still can use the fabric for something. So I like this. I like the way it feels. The side seam hangs super straight because of the sway back. It fits my back. What if I didn't put the round back in? If I didn't put the round back in, this would be going back like this and strangling me. It's the thing I have to work with on Jerry, and I'd always be pulling it forward. And then it would go back, 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 and I'd be pulling it forward all the time. Okay? So, it's not ideal to have bust darts in knits, some people think. I don't know why. I don't see any problem with it. I think it looks fine. So, I'm going to go cut the 3/4 sleeve. I'm going to put the sleeves in. I'm going to hem the neck, hem the bottom, get it perfectly all done. Maybe I'll do an applique on the front of it or something. I don't know. This is muslin number 2. This is View C. View C is actually one shirt on top of another shirt. This is the original underneath shirt to View C. Part of it's used for View B. I used pattern piece 3, 4, and 7. And I suggest that you all do that too, because once you start chopping up the top of it, and that would be View B, View A, and View D. It's going to be a little more complicated, but not terrible, because what you would do is you would just attach the missing pieces before you fit it. Are you ready for muslin number 3 and muslin number 4? These actually are wearable garments. This is number 3, and you can recognize the style from the pattern. And I'm having Lucy wear it because I asked her. I said, Lucy, would you mind doing me a favor? She said, no problem, I don't have anything else to do. And so since Lucy's built exactly like I am, she's wearing muslin number 3. Muslin number 3 has a sleeve in it that's a little too tight for me, and it's not the pattern's fault, it's my fault. Remember this bright green fabric I just bought from Girl Charlie? They only had 1 yard of this green, and I just had very little left. After cutting out the front and the back, notice how I did this in the back. I think it looks so goofy to just do it in the front and not in the back. I guess they wanted the whole back to be a solid color. I don't know. But I decided I wanted it front and back, so I'll show you how I did that if I haven't already shown you. I don't know if this will be at the end of the video or in the middle of the video or where it will be. And I'm wearing number 4. And you can tell number 4 is the triangle style. And again, I thought it looked really dumb from the back with just one light sleeve or one different sleeve, lace sleeve, whatever they did, and no angle thing at the top. So I changed the pattern to be front and back. Front and back. And from this muslin to this muslin, I actually did do another change, and I made a bigger bust dart in it, because this one, when I'm wearing it, it has quite a few wrinkles right here. It doesn't on Lucy, because Lucy doesn't move. So I put a bigger bust dart, I added another 1/2 inch in the bust dart, lengthened the front a 1/2 inch, because the side seams have to match up with each other. And so that was my last and final fit. So would I make this again like it is? Yes. I made the sleeve 19 inches finally. Oh, I started to tell you I didn't have enough fabric left to make the full width of the sleeve, and I thought, oh, it stretches. I'll just make it a little bit smaller. No. So the sleeve is a little bit tight on me. The sleeve itself right here, because I made it littler. You know, this fabric doesn't stretch very far. It seems like it does, but it really doesn't. And you can see it doesn't have hardly any drape. So it's really kind of like sewing a woven. So what do you think? Do you like the front and the back? And you'll say, well, you show us how you did that. Of course I'll show you how I did that. But first of all, I am going to look at what I've got made for you so far in fitting video number 3 and see if I have room to describe how I did the front and back on these to be the same. And I may have to make another video. I'm not sure. It's noon. I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat some lunch, and then I'm going to come back. I'll see you then. I've decided to let this be the end of the fitting video part 3. I'm going to start the fitting video part 4 for those of you who may be interested in how I changed my pattern that I worked so long on. Look at this board here. How I took my pattern ease pattern that I finally got to be a perfect fit, in my opinion, for me, how I used it to make the other styles. I did not cut out any more pattern pieces. All I ever cut out was the front, the back, and the sleeve. That's all I ever cut out. And that's what I used to make my pattern ease pattern. Then I made my pattern ease pattern fit me till I got number 3 and number 4 done, and they both fit me great. I'm just super excited that the fitting is done. I ordered the size large and bigger of the B6418, and I will just use it, you know, off screen, out of the video, and try my fitting with the larger size just to see, being Butterick, if starting with the larger size is easier for me to do. But you don't need to watch me do that. I'll just do that on my own time. And I'm going to stop this video right now. This is part 3 of the fit. you have seen all 4 of my muslins. Remember, a muslin is just a trial garment. I can wear number 2, number 3, and number 4. No problem. Number 1, no. Number 1 was the one with the gaping neck in the front and the gaping neck in the back. I don't even know where number 1 is. Oh, there it is. It's hanging on my long arm. And I've decided that more than being able to write on the paper on this thing that you also graciously bought me by watching my videos, I love it. You can magnetize all of your pattern pieces up here. Yeah, I gotta get you one of these. It wasn't that expensive. Maybe $60, maybe. Oh, I just used it and used it. And look at my table. You can't see my table, but there's hardly anything on it because it's all up here. I hope this has been helpful in some way, shape, or form for you all to try to get a commercial pattern to fit you. Go ahead and watch the next one if you want to see how I changed into the other styles. You may just have one piece of knit and you may just be able to make one garment. That's perfectly fine. Don't even watch the next one. But if you're interested, I will call it the Sew Along Fit, whatever I'm naming them, number 4. And then we'll start with the sew along. I'll cut out one more. And I will set up the camera and you can watch me sew it together. I think, you know, sewing together the shoulders and the side seam and the bust darts, you know, I'm sure you all can do it. What is really the longest, most tedious part of any pattern for me is putting the hems in. Especially this hem. This hem down here is quite tricky because it's like it doesn't have enough fabric there to fold up and behave. And I wish I could figure out a way to make it do it. It's like I need more right here on this corner. Maybe that's what I'll do is I'll cut some extra fabric out here on this corner. I'm not sure how to do that. I'm really not sure. Maybe I'll clip this and spread it a little bit. Something else I've got to work on. There's always something that we don't know yet, right? Okay, my friends, I need to get this edited and up because I promised you it would be up by the 17th. Now the next one, part 4, may not be up on the 17th. But as soon as I can do it, I took a whole bunch of pictures and I'll have to show you a lot of things and so, but I'll try to get it up so you can watch it right after this one. All right, end of part 3.